Hello guys, I'm Kiri, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna talk about Aston Martin Virage 6.3 wide-body coupe. This car is from the brutal 80s and 90s cars, if we can describe them this way. It has angry look, ready to fight even when it's parked. Massive wheels and tires, wide body with these beautifully extended wheel arches, and we're not going to forget to mention the V8 6.3 liter engine. Nowadays, or maybe up to 5 years ago, this capacity was very popular. You could see almost in every street. We're talking about cars like Mercedes 63 AMG from C-Class to SL and AMG GT. Then many others with similar capacity. Also many supercars with big V8 or V12 engines. So even today we can see everyday big engined cars and SUVs with noisy exhausts. But in the 80s and 90s were not that many cars with this size. If was some, the chance to see one of these was very minimal. So the car in front of us, the 1992 Aston Martin Virage 6.3 wide-body coupe, is one of these rare cars, which was almost impossible to see on that time. It's based on the normal Aston Martin Virage 5.3 liter, but here we have not only 1 liter more capacity. All the cars being transformed by the Aston Martin customer service division based on experience they had on the early 90s Group C race cars. As we mentioned, the V8 5.3 liter original engine was enlarged to 6.3, respectively the power from 330, now 465 horsepower. This was massive difference. But the extra 135 horsepower wasn't only from the enlarging the size of the engine. The heads were completely different and the parts inside as well. Even next year, 1993, Aston Martin did another update, so the power went to exactly 500 horsepower. Was more than Ferrari F40 and Lamborghini Diablo, by the way. But to have this power, of course, many things needed to be changed on this standard car. Because that's a 60% increase from the standard car, which is a lot. On 1992, so more than 30 years ago, the conversion cost 50,000 British pounds. With this money you could buy 5 normal cars, but the thing is, this conversion was not only for brand new cars, but from existing standard 5.3 liter Aston Martin Virage cars. So if you had the standard car, just visit the factory and pay 50,000 British pounds and say I want a conversion. And in few months the car is going to be done. The 6.3 liter conversion was possible from 1992 to 1995, with involving extensive changes to the suspension, brakes, wheels, tires and bodywork to cope with the additional 60% more power and torque. More stiff suspension with racing style springs and shocks. New 14-inch ventilated cross-drilled disc brakes. They were claiming they're the largest fitted to any production car ever. Of course, new wheels and tires, all 4 corners, 10 each wider by 18-inch split rim 5-spoke Italian OZ racing alloy wheels, with 285/45 by 18 Goodyear Eagle tires, probably the best tires on the late 80s and 90s. By the way, Formula 1 on that time was running on Goodyear Eagle tires. And some of the top cars were with the same, such as Ferrari 288 GTO. But to have this wide track now, the wheels and tires needed to be covered by the law with wheel arches. The standard were narrow, so they flared or extended the arches to cover the tires. With this new look, the car just changed the vision. But not only the wheel arches. Deep front air dam was installed, boot-mounted spoiler, extended seals, side air vents, and on the end the car really looks brutal with very angry nose. Also has a racing style, as we mentioned, was developed from the people involving with the Group C race Aston Martin R1 car. The lower suspension really changed the vision of the car. But on the end was a road legal car, even good for everyday use, because inside was very comfortable, with nice leather, manual or automatic gearbox, with big volume and headroom. Was more a GT car than track car, to cross the continent north-south or east-west. But on the same time, if you see track on the way, you can measure the time and maybe can beat some Ferraris, Porsches or Lambos. Let's talk a little bit technical specification for the car. front-engined V8 6.3 liter, 6347 cc, of course north-south position or longitudinally, producing 465 horsepower for the first year, 1992, and then 500 horsepower to the end of the production in 1995. Two types of gearboxes, 5 or 6-speed manual, both ZF, but as well for the drivers who are more into a GT cars, 3-speed automatic gearbox was available as well. Drive shaft under the car, differential on the rear axle, so the car is rear wheel drive only. Typically classical configuration, but this is what the real drivers want. Maximum speed 175 miles per hour or 279 kilometers per hour, with acceleration from 0 to 60 miles per hour or 96 kilometers per hour, just 5.1 seconds. Was huge improvement compared with the standard cars. There are two versions of the wide body Aston Martin Virage, same as the standard cars, coupe and convertible, or Aston Martin named them Volante. They are the more desirable and valuable. Only 26 factory-built wide-body 6.3 cars were ever produced. All of these 26 cars, they have exceptional provenance today. Not many miles on the clock, and the prices are over 150,000 British pounds. Most of the cars are finished in the very distinctive for Aston Martin color, British Racing Green, but of course there are some different colors, like Bordeaux Red Metallic and some others. There are some wide-bodied Virage cars, but with the standard 5.3 liter engine. They were especially for the US market because the 6.3 liter wasn't in with the US regulations. It's one very interesting Virage Volante, so convertible, built in 1994, and was a special order. Aston Martin Virage Volante 6.3, but very strangely narrow body, and this was ordered by the Prince of Wales then, now the King of England. So it's only one narrow standard body Aston Martin Virage 6.3 with manual transmission. The standard car Virage was introduced in 1989 and was in production till 2000. In total, 411 were made. The convertible was presented a bit later, in 1992, and was in production till 2000 again. But in 1997, Aston Martin changed the name to V8, so from Virage to V8. But actually was the same car. And in total, 224 or 233 from the early Virage cars are built, and 63 from the late V8 Volante. In total, just over 300 Volante cars. So 411 coupe Virage cars plus 300 Volante. This is approximately 711 cars in total. But as we mentioned earlier, just 26 of all 711 cars being transformed into a very powerful Virage wide body 6.3 liter cars. This is something similar to today's Mercedes AMG Black Series. More wide, more aggressive, more power, and more and more. Aston Martin always been heavy cars, and this is not an exception. For 1992-1995, the weight was over 1,800 kilograms, was a bit more, and nowadays it's okay, but for that time was really heavy. The car was all handmade, and for some Aston Martin enthusiasts, this is the last true handmade Aston Martin car. All the panels are aluminium and formed in English wheel. But this doesn't help to get lightweight car, but anyway, if it was from steel, even could be more heavy. Maybe you noticed the headlight and the tail lights are very familiar, so they're from different cars. The headlights are from 1980s Audi 200, and the tail lights are from the same era, Volkswagen Scirocco, but this was normal for that time. To save money and to cut the cost, they decided to use already Volkswagen Group units. Many other companies been doing the same. Even McLaren F1 has inside BMW E36 indicator switches and Citroën mirrors, but again, this was just to cut the cost and save time and money. Very rare car to see on the road, even we need to say extremely rare. More rare than any Ferrari model or Bugatti, Lamborghini back on the day. Even by today's standard, just 26 wide-body Aston Martin Virage with 6.3 liter engine, which was specially developed by the racing Aston Martin team. The same team, with lots of experience on the track, was hard time for Aston Martin and for other British motor companies like Bentleys and Rolls-Royce, just to prove that some numbers are available. For example, in 1988, Aston Martin produced only 193 cars from all the models. In 1989, just 208 cars. 1990, 201 car. In 1991, 168 cars, and in 1992, only 46 cars. So this company was very tight. Ford bought Aston Martin in 1987, and then the things started to move slowly, but again was very low volume car manufacturer. So guys, this was about this very brutal looking car, Aston Martin Virage 6.3 liter wide body coupe. If you like, please subscribe my channel and see you next time guys. Bye!